Boom.
Yay.
All right, so now we're recording. Hey, I have not repeated this yet. This is brand new. All right, so what uh, what we're gonna do here? This is very informal, and we just basically just talk about what each of us are building. Talk about any type of questions you may have. We can talk about all the different LLMs that people are using, how to prompt AI, different tools such as Shakespeare or Claude, whatever you're using, and just have it be an open floor for everybody and kind of showcase what you're working on, maybe what you have questions or what you want help with, and then some of us that are building and have a little bit of experience can chime in and answer, and we can also showcase and talk about the different things that we are building. So I know Heather is very anxious to show what she has been working on over the past week or so. Heather, why don't you take the floor?
There we go. Do you see my screen? Did it
I
work?
do see your screen. I see
Okay.
Shakespeare and I see get your app featured.
Yeah, get your app featured. So I wanted to make something that we would use at Soapbox. And so this would allow people to just submit their app and then we could showcase them. So I've been playing with this all day. I think I probably spent more time on vibe debugging rather than building the app, but I didn't really keep track of my time because every time I would do something, I would pop over to another screen. But anyway, I submitted 3 apps and I rejected them all, and that was part of the thing. So if we look at go back to
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that it there's vibe coding, which is fun, and then there's vibe debugging and testing, which takes twice as
yes,
long as the actual talking with the AI
yes,
to have the conversation, because you need to test every single feature and
you really do.
thoroughly test it. Like you test it on different browsers, you test it on different devices, like a mobile device, a desktop device. Like you gotta test it on all the things because well, you just never know how it's going to function.
So let's pretend I'll put one of my apps back up, and it still has a bunch of toast notifications, even though it says.
Where did it go? Are you serious?
Ideally, what this will look like is that, let's say this was some cool app made by somebody other than myself. Um, this would be like the showcase. So I just spent a couple hours trying to figure out how to make approved apps show up and how to reject apps and have the rejected apps not show up. So there was a lot of debugging, but ultimately I'll be able to share this and say like, oh, Patrick made Peachy Huddle, and if Patrick were so motivated to share peachyhuddle.com to have the app featured. This way, for me, this lets me know that people want their apps featured. In other words, that would be like consent to have your app featured, and also to let me know that the apps are out there. So that will help me showcase them on the Soapbox, websites, social media, etc. So
Well, the cool thing about
that is what
that
I've
is
spent the
so the
day
cool thing
on.
about that. I'm going to interrupt you for a second, but the cool thing about that is that you built this is because it was a need, right? Like, like no one else is going to use this. This is something that you built for you because this was a tool that you wanted for work to help you get your job done. Like, it's specifically for you. It's something that maybe somebody would adapt for their own personal use in the future, but it's mostly
Yes.
just for you. Like that's really cool. Like you're able to talk to AI and be like, "Hey, I need this thing to do my job. Make it for me."
Make it for me. Now I could have easily just, not spent, $200 in a whole day on this and just used like Google Forms. But why would we do that when we're Noster? And so the cool thing is, I kind of copied like, hey, what I want to make a Google form and have people submit their info. So it automatically, this is where the prompting comes in. It automatically took that to mean that I wanted to accept people's email addresses, which I didn't want to do. So I had to kind of undo that part. So now when you
Right on.
submit your app, and it kind of made all of this for me. But the cool thing is, we'll get to the form, but I'm not logged in.
Heather,
Um,
whenever
Go.
you were doing your vibe debugging, was it just like one feature that you spent forever trying to fix?
It was two different things.
Okay. So the reason I asked that is because I see your app costs $200 to make, and your
Mm-hmm.
app is not very complex. It's very basic. So
Yeah.
that tells me one of two things. That tells me that probably you had some bugs that you spent a lot of time trying to fix, and
Oh yeah.
it was going over and over and over and over again, basically trying to fix it and not working. And then the second thing it tells me is that
Mhm.
your context window probably grew and grew and grew. So you were at a point where you were spending like probably multiple dollars per prompt.
I
Does that
think
sound
it
about
probably
right?
that sounds about right. I think like per thing, like let's see, like most of them are like 20 cents per prompt if you watch them go by. And another thing that happened is because it did go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Like my context window is very, very
So,
deep, right?
so
So I
you
think
did not clear your prompt at all, right?
no, I did because like it crashed a couple times. So then I learned that, let's say this part crashes here on this left panel. You kind of freak out for a second and you're like, oh my God, do I have to start over? No, like it understands where you are and you can just kind of keep, picking back up with it and just be like, hey, keep debugging. Hey, get rid of these toast notifications. But it does let you know what you're doing, and you do get to see the price here. So, like, I don't know, 24 cents every time it takes an action. So, I don't know, like, in between me prompting it, yeah, it might be a few bucks in between prompts.
Yeah. I'm betting um, uh, that, I mean, obviously it's $200, and it's crazy because it's not that very complicated.
Right.
I really think that, like, once you start seeing um dollar per mount, like like, maybe we'll just say if it costs, $3 to $5 per prompt, and you're working on a specific bug, I would, if it was me, I would 100% go in and clear the context window and start all over and really think about what I'm actually trying to fix, because that that shouldn't be that expensive.
Right.
I mean, for the website that you built. Now, this is a learning experience, so I look at it as, I like to use my example that I literally spent $863 to build Zappix, 4 months ago,
Really?
and that's a shit ton
Woo.
of money. But I
Now I don't feel bad.
learned, eh, I mean, I was very upset that I did that, but I learned an incredible amount, and it was a learning experience that now my apps don't cost that much because I learned so much.
I
um,
think it was weird because I would tell it over and over again, this is not working. This is the same thing. I'm getting the same error message, and like probably had to do that 10 times in one case.
so I'm going to answer Big Carrot. So the most I ever spent on an app was about oh, I'm trying to remember. It was either it was more than 100, but it wasn't. Besides the $863, I think that I think it was about $150 to redo my personal website.
Ooh,
And redoing my personal website includes a lot of Noster content. Like, it has all my blogs, all my photos, like kind 20 image posts, all my events, all my regular notes. So I basically made a Derek browser essentially, and then updated the UI for my old website. So that cost me, it was almost $150 to do, but I think that was worth it
crazy.
because it's my own personal site.
Well, someone on Nostr did tell me that, like, because if you see this one here, Language Quest, they said this morning, you mean $340, right? Because like I've never, done anything cheaply
Yeah,
on MK stuff, and I was like, no, like, okay, so if you look at this project, this one's super simple. I thought there was another one that I had today, but I may have deleted it. So like, here's a super simple, this is a one prompt deal. That's why it's $3.40. I did not
yeah,
debug. I did not go deep in
yeah.
testing. I just
That
said,
sounds about
hey,
right. Like
build this.
one prompt is like anywhere from like $1 to $5, depending on how complex it is.
Yeah. And then like if you look at where they cost more money, it's always because, oh, I did a bunch of things
You
here.
added a bunch of
Uh
features, you did a little tweaking
yeah.
here and there, a couple prompts. I would say you can build a basic website for under $50
Yeah, that's this one right here is
with
27
and that's going to
bucks.
give you a few prompts, right? Like that's going to give you a few prompts to change a few things.
And this was
On
like,
average, I would say like $30 is 20 to $30, and if you start getting more complex, maybe 30 to 50, and then if you get really complex, 100 to 150, or up to 200
mhm,
like Heather's. But I think that's part of that's her website isn't very complex. I think that's a
right,
debugging issue that she just sometimes you do that, and I've done it. You see an issue and you're like, this is not this. Why can't I fix this? This is no big deal, and you keep fighting with it over and
right.
over and over again, and you think, come on, like this is no big deal. Why can't I fix this? Let me try to word it this way, and you eventually just dig yourself into a hole, which I learned many months ago. And now said if I reckon
Let's
like
put
if
it see there.
you try two prompts, three, I'll say three max to fix it. If it doesn't work, you need to restart the context window and think about how you want to word your prompt to get
Yeah.
it fixed. Otherwise, you're just going to spend money that you're going to
Yeah.
burn sats or burn dollars.
Here's the part that you can't see in the Shakespeare dashboard is
Hmm.
here's some of this is I made an admin panel that's where things weren't matching between the way I wanted them featured and the way I wanted to work with them. So it added like this debug thing, it added a refresh, it added a hard reset. It was like try a different relay. It gave me like at least when I was in Shakespeare working with MK Stack, it was telling me, "Oh, here, do this," and I'd be like, "I don't know what that is," and they would be like, "Well, I'll install that." So I'm like, because I'm not a dev, I don't know how to write code or anything, and I don't know exactly what it's talking about to me in Shakespeare. So this is the part that you can't see in Shakespeare because you have to be logged in. So I'm logged in, and so we can see like here are this is approved. That's why it's showing as featured apps now. So like before, it was driving me crazy because I had rejected all my apps, but it was still showing all the rejected apps. So now if we go to admin, this works now. Very exciting. We go in here and we go review and we go, okay, that's a shit app. We don't want to show that one. And like it still has its toast alerts going balls to the wall crazy here. Um, so this was part of the debugging I did not fix was removing those alerts. But if we go back to featured apps now, I've rejected all my apps, so they're not showing. So if somebody actually sends me a cool app and I feature it now, it will show up here. So there was more I wanted to do with it, but I already spent $200 and like the whole day on it. So I got it like to basically do what I want to do for my purposes, which is all the Shakespeare users can just pop on over here, submit an app, I had wanted to do like an automatic scoring system earlier, so that's what this stuff all is. So I could remove that if I want, but you give your app name, description, what category it is, give your npub, which is, what I'd earlier when I started prompting it and said, "Hey, make something like a Google form," it made something like a Google form with emails. So let's do npubs instead. And then it's like, "Well, hey, do a screenshot and a pitch deck," which is
Sure.
funny because it doesn't show any of the submitted screenshots in the featured apps. So if I really wanted to keep working on this and be like, show me the PNG files that people upload to featured apps, that would be cool. Or to also another thing I could keep vibing and change is that when they do show up here, they show up as a list. I'd rather they show up as tiles. So that would be another thing that I could fix
Yeah,
if I
that's a good
wanted
feature
to.
change.
Yeah, but if I just want a place for people to show up and say, "Hey, feature my app on Shakespeare DIY," like we'll pretend this isn't me, maybe this is somebody else. All I have to do is review it and go, "Oh, this app is totally cool. Let me give it a manual score of like 10." And I'll feature it and give some review notes, and then it'll show up on the page. But we won't make it show up on the page because I've already
You,
done that 1,000
you
times
know what
today.
would be really cool, Heather?
What?
What would be really cool is to have this like me being the nerdy guy, I'm sitting here thinking this could literally all be automated, right? Like you would go
Exactly.
we
That's
go
what I
out
was
we
trying to
go out
do.
there to Shakespeare, we did at Shakespeare and say look for this event kind, and if this end pub, maybe your end pub or my end
Oh,
pub or Alex end pub, we we whitelist the team members or whoever, and if this NPub publishes approves this review, then it automatically shows up. Like it just does it all automatically based on Nostr events. Like you could totally build that and really easily build it.
yeah, that would be fun too. I wanted to kind of automate it and have AI kind of judge like the merit of the app submitted. And then I realized it was not doing that because I like submitted my shittiest app and it was like,
Oh
this is
yeah,
great. I
it doesn't know
was
if
like,
you're
oh my
good.
God. I was like, let's not try that. I was like,
Yeah.
take that out. So like that's also probably I think the original app before I did all the debugging was more than $100. I can't remember what it was. I kept track of it somewhere, so I'll have to go back over my list and be like, where where did it cross over into being all about debugging and what did that actually cost? I can figure that out later.
That's a cool
But yeah.
that's a cool app idea. It's going to be useful. It's going to be something that you needed, something you can use in your day job. So I think that's a great example. I mean, all of the things that I've built have literally been things that I've wanted to use. I didn't care if anybody else ever used them, as long as I could use them. Then the mission
Yeah.
was accomplished. Cool.
Yeah, so that was a good learning experience for me today. You know, being not a dev, I played with a lot of prompts today. I looked up a lot of prompts, and then as soon as I started looking into, well, can I make my own thing for people to submit things that they made with Shakespeare and want to be shown off? You're like, can I make that? And kind of like researched how to do that. And so like one of the prompt things that I learned is like with well let me share my screen again because let's do that in Shakespeare. This is a great underrated trick here. I don't my original prompt was pretty long for the app scout, but if we go back to language quest, the key here is make a clone of whatever, but put it in simple MVP front end terms. Like take this and put it through the AI of your choice. And this stuff was made for me by ChatGPT, where it was like, here's what
That's a
the
nice hack,
simple,
right? Like
yeah, yeah,
because a lot of us don't understand how to or what to say, what to prompt. But
hmm,
using AI to prompt another AI actually works really well. So you
it
go over to
does.
Chat GPT or Gemini, or and you say, "Hey, I want to build this app. Help me create a prompt for it." And then you can pretty much copy and paste it word for word. The only thing I'll say is don't copy and paste the tech stack because a lot of times it will tell
Yeah,
you it'll go through and be like, oh, for the tech stack we should use React, Invite, and it'll tell you all these different technical tools. You don't
it'll even
need to
give you
do all that
code.
because Shakespeare already knows the tech stack. So you'll have like tech stacks fighting and things may not play nicely. So copy everything except for the tech stack. You don't care about that because Shakespeare, that tool, like already has it all covered.
Yeah, and like ChatGPT will give you code too, and I don't think you need that, dude.
No, yeah, right. Like you don't
The
need,
tech stack.
yeah, yeah. Like little a whenever I built. So last week I demoed Podster, the pod app that I was working on, which
Yeah.
we can take a look at that here in a little bit if people want
Oh yeah.
to. But I actually built that prompt like with ChatGPT. I typed out several paragraphs and then I put it into ChatGPT basically saying, "Hey, make this a nice prompt." And then I went through and I edited the prompt a little bit from there. Like I wanted it to be structured better. So I took my napkin notes essentially that I wrote in the car and transferred it to ChatGPT and said make it structured and make a prompt for this. And I took everything and put it in another document and then I edited that document a little bit more and that was my prompt. So that's nothing wrong with that. So let's do a little round the room here. Jojo, just because your name on my screen is up top, I'm gonna pick on you first. Are you are you just vibe coding curious, or are you building anything with AI?
Derek, you sound
I
like
don't know if, yeah, you just disappeared.
Oh, am I still here?
there you are. You're
Yep,
back.
you're good
Hey, he's
now.
back. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, are you vibe coding anything, or are you just curious, looking to build something? What are
You
you
know, a
doing?
little bit of both. I'm working on a maps. Actually, I kind of posed it to Noster, I don't know, last week sometime, and it's kind of been putzing around in my head. I only started it just a tiny bit in Shakespeare, and I think I got to go back and start over because my prompts, like you were saying, it's really not it's not getting anywhere. So I'm kind of at a stuck point, but I think I want to just start over and
Okay.
make a fresh start of it. So it's
Are you using
I
the paid version of Shakespeare or the free version?
I'm on the free version right now until
Okay.
I kind of get something like
Yep.
where I want to, yeah, I just want to kind of get it to the
No, that
point
that's
where I'm
fine.
like, okay, this I can
Absolutely.
actually,
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
good to use the free version to learn how to like one how Shakespeare works and two kind of like how to talk to AI. Like the output on the free version, I will say 100% you get what you pay for. It's not going
Oh yeah.
to be that good. And a lot of times it's not going to be able to fix like complex bugs and you're just going to sit there and like go in a loop forever sometimes. So,
Yeah.
restarting again, saving all your prompts, kind of, you know, use it to kind of get a feel and then once you kind of have that feel, you kind of have that design spec sheet, you have the
Yeah.
tech spec, then you can transfer that over to the paid version and get a better result.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get an idea of what I was kind of fleshing out my plan even. But yeah, I kept running into issues with the ES lint.
Yeah,
It kept erroring out with that. So I was like, all right, well, we'll figure that out when I get something a little
yeah,
bit
that
better.
that's
But
just like syntax errors most of the time, or things are included that shouldn't be included anymore, or should be included and aren't included, and sometimes adding it or removing it, it can't figure out which way to do it in the Gemini version, and it just sits there and loops and loops and loops. It's just because it's not smart enough.
okay,
That's all. It's free. It's a
gotcha.
little dumb because it's free. Like
It's the smartest kid in the sandbox, but it's still
it
eating sand.
is. It's the only kid in the sandbox.
What's kind of fun though, like if you're not sure if you're serious about, spending some money with MK Stack, just screw around with Gemini Flash Playground and see like, oh,
Yeah,
did it come out cool? Okay, now if I'm serious about this and I really want to pursue it, let me spend the money on it.
And there are
yeah,
some
yeah, definitely.
free tools, like if you have a computer that you can use and utilize, that will give you better results, but they're a little more technical. You'll need to be familiar with the command line and a terminal. But
Yeah.
there are other tools out there that are available to help you kind of
Okay.
get the feel of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun to play around with it. I just haven't had a whole lot
Yeah.
of time lately to dedicate to it. So I figure like once I get something up and running, I'll be into it a little bit
Yeah,
more. But
and
yeah, this
I'm
is more of
anxious to
a
see it, and then you can bring it to the jam code session here, and we can show it off and talk about it and get bounce ideas back and forth. Just
for sure. Yeah, it's just kind of fun to hear everybody's voice and
yeah,
get some ideas. So yeah,
absolutely. Nice to hear your voice and
so
meet
that's
you.
just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
What's up, Carson? You next. Are we building over there in Texas, or are we just are we learning? What's up?
A little bit of both. So I've got a project that I'm kind of working on that I tried messing around with on Shakespeare a couple of weeks ago, and now I since I played around with it, I realized I got a little bit of a clearer idea of what I do need to build,
Yeah,
and so I'm just here trying to learn what I can do to build it a little bit better
awesome.
next time.
So what I've learned over the past several months is that it's best if you fully lay out everything. Like if you just have an idea, like I want to build a review app. Well, that's cool, and you can literally say, "Build me a review app," and it will do that. But that app may look nothing like you want. It may have none of the features that you want. The features may not function like how you want. So it's best to say, "Build me a review app that can do this and do this and do that and all these other things." So basically, you need to have your design kind of nailed down how you want it to look. You need to have your functions, your features kind of nailed down. Type it all out and let it rip. It's best to lay everything out in the beginning or in different feature sets and chunks than to kind of be all over the place like, "Oh, fix this, then fix this, then fix that." And then
Okay, I
things
was
don't
curious
things don't
about
work
that.
as well.
So yeah, so you're saying laying it out all in the beginning is generally helpful because I was worried like I don't know when I'm entering it all in if I'm listing too many features that it's just gonna like get confused and mess a few up.
I would list them all. I would list them in as much detail as possible, and then
Okay.
if it does mess something up, you can go back and copy and paste the spec that you wrote for it. You'll have less errors than going the other way, than doing it, and it'll be much cheaper too, instead of doing it piece by piece by piece by piece. Both methods do work, but I will say the as much detail as possible in the beginning definitely yields a better result and is cheaper too.
Okay, and then I had one more question about so I haven't used MK stacks, but what is the difference between like vibe coding on Shakespeare
Yeah.
versus MK stacks plugged into something else, I guess.
So when you use Shakespeare and you're using the paid version, you're using you're essentially using MK Stack for the web. Think of it as a easy to use user interface where you can do it on any type of computer or phone that you have, whereas MK Stack is the template, the technology that it uses in the background. And for you to use that, you need to have a computer and you need to install a few pieces of software. So that's
Okay.
like the more advanced version because you can do a little bit more with it. You can be a little bit more versatile and you can have a little bit more technical advantage. But you need a computer to be able to do all this stuff. And it's not overly hard, but you have to type a few commands out. And really, I mean, it's not too bad. So if you have a laptop, desktop, you can definitely try MK Stack. But um, I'll say that if you're not, if you're afraid of getting your hands dirty in the command line, then Shakespeare would be for you.
Okay.
But if you're not,
Awesome.
you have more options and more configuration, more user choice, and you can get your hands a little dirty with MK Stack.
Is MK stack still pay per prompt then?
So MK Stack allows you to use various different language models. So and various tools. For example, if you wanted to use MK Stack and not pay anything, you could use Google's agent called Gemini CLI, and that uses Gemini Flash and Gemini Pro. It'll start out using Pro, but if Pro is busy, it'll bump you down to the free version of Flash. I mean, I guess they're both free, but you can completely use it. I've done it just in demo purposes. It does work, and
Derek,
it's
you're cutting out a little bit again.
well, I don't know why.
Oh,
Just
now
I'm
you're
on my
back now.
headset. All right, sorry. Thank you for letting me know. Um, so you can use Gemini Flash. Or I'm sorry, you can use Gemini CLI, and it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything to use it. It works really well when it's using the Pro version. But like I said, sometimes when Pro is being very busy, and you're not paying for it, they bump you to the Flash version. My son built an entire app with the Gemini Pro version, and then it bumped him down to the Flash version, and he was able to still complete his app. So it does work. So what you would do in that case, I can actually show you. I can share my screen. Let me do that. Let's see. Let's share this screen here. This one. Okay. All right. So, for example, I have it installed, Gemini, and it's giving me an error. All right, cool. All right, so you see here it says it's using Gemini.md and one MCP server. Essentially, what this means is it found the MK stack. We have MK stack configured to work with Gemini if you want. It already went out there and it read how to use MK stack by reading this file here. And then this server it's connected to tells it how to communicate with Noster and use Noster and all the good stuff, all the nips. So it's already ready to go. And you can see here I'm starting out using 2.5 Pro, and I have 100% of my context left. That means I can talk to it forever, basically. And you get like 1 million tokens a day to do this, but like I said, if it's busy, it will dumb this down to 2.5 Flash, and then your mileage may vary after that. I do have an app that I built on Flash. I don't remember which one it was, because I could show you. But anyways, this is what this is what Gemini looks like. And you just type your prompt in here and try to think of a feature I want to add that I could do. When listening to podcasts, I want the audio or the episode track to be published as a status update using NIP38, I believe it is. You don't see this on my window, but I'm going to go out to nosterhub.io. I'm going to type in NIP38 just to make sure. User statuses. Okay, perfect. Now, I might have just been able to just say, I want to publish Noster statuses, but, I don't know. I like to specify the NIP if I can. So I'm going to just do this here. This is a feature I did want to add, and we're going to see what happens here. We're going to see if it can add it. So it's searching. It did a search for NIP38. It already figured out that NIP38 is user statuses. It's this kind number. It's going to read the NIP documentation. It's going to connect to that server I talked about. I'm going to say yes, always allow from the Noster server. So it's going out there and it's reading how Intergalactic Beastie Boys, nice example. It's figuring out how that NIP works. So now it's saying, okay, audio player. So now it's looking for how to update the status. So what I want this to do is when you're on the Podster, when you're on my and Heather's upcoming podcast, and you're listening to us yell at each other, it'll update your Noster status to you're playing our podcast. So that's what this feature will do if it adds it. Yes, always allow. But again, this is completely free. I'm not paying for this. 100% free because I'm using Gemini.
Right.
And Gemini, Google's giving it away for free because they want to train their model and win. So they're giving it away for free, and then they're using my data, I'm sure, to win. So it's all public, available on GitHub, so I don't really care.
Okay, thank you for the demonstration.
Yeah, you are welcome, sir. You are welcome. Sam, what are you building? What's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
Morning, guys and girls. How are you all doing?
Good morning.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah, well, hi Heather. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so I've been vibing a little at the last day or so. It's a bit of a techie one, not so visual, but basically the idea is to find kind of orphaned profile data. So the scenario is that you're connected to some relays and you publish your profile, you set some bio information, you set your profile picture, but then you remove one of your relays from your set, from your right set, and then you update your profile again with new information with a new picture. And then because the profile information is replaceable, what you end up having is that somewhere in the network, you have this old profile information, which is out of date. That's fine if you then later connect from your client in, you know, to multiple relays, including the newer ones. But you can have this momentary issue where it reads from an older relay first and then the newer one and realizes which of the replaceable events is the newer one. And then you get this flicker of your profile picture. So it's like a simple problem where you can make a little utility to do this, but it's not complex enough to justify that. And I thought it's simple enough that I could vibe something. So that's what I'm making right now, actually, with MK Stacks, not in Shakespeare, but with Goose. Um, and yeah, so far it's going well. I can put in a whole bunch of relays. I can discover other relays, and it can. It's highlighted to me 2 relays where I have outdated information. So yeah, that's what I'm just playing around with.
Anything you want to show or not ready yet?
It's recompiling as we speak.
What? So are
Hold
you
on.
building the? Are you're vibe coding this? Or are you using what
Yeah,
LLM? What agent are you using?
exactly. Let me just share my screen here. If I can find the correct one. Yeah, so we can see here on the right, this is what I've got going. And we can't see my other screen. Let me just bring it over. So can you guys see all of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So on the left, we've got my terminal.
You use Vibes.
This is what,
Yes.
yeah. So this is what you're just talking to. I don't know if it was JT Wagner or Carson. I didn't hear the name, but where you're describing, what's the difference between using Shakespeare and using MK Stacks? For me, in this case, I'm using MK Stacks on my machine. That's what I'm used to. So I've got MK Stacks running installed on the machine, and then I've connected it up with OpenRouter. That way I can put in my own API key and I can choose my preferred modules. I quite like Open Sonnet. I'm a big fanboy of them.
Oh yeah.
So I'm using, I
Absolutely.
think,
Sonnet's probably the best out there. Maybe Opus. That's about it.
yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm using 3.7. But same way with Shakespeare, put in a prompt, describe the app, told it what I wanted, and then now I'm just going back and forth, tweaking it a little bit. And I do have open the code, which of course is optional. I don't need to, but I kind of just want to see what it's doing. Partly is my own curiosity. And then we have the app on the right hand side here. So you can see, yeah, it's pretty simple, but it takes my npub and then it's gone through a bunch of relays. It's seeded with a few default relays because it, of course, first needs some relays to even figure out what are my relays. But then there are the Noster kinds for all of this, where you have your published list that you write to. So it finds them, and then you can add other relays as well. And you can see the results. We found my profile information on a whole bunch of relays. On some of them, it didn't find them at all. But we've got 2 down here, which have outdated information. And it shows the difference. And yeah, so we can see that at some point I've set my name and I've set a website. And this old one, it's missing that. So that's okay. That's not too bad. The main problem I wanted to find was when it's got an old profile picture. But for context, this is like, 15 minutes of work. Maybe it took a few minutes to, or maybe more than a few, like 5 minutes to first generate its initial project, which you'd expect because, it's building the whole front end app. And then maybe 3 prompts, which took about 30 seconds each just to corral some of this stuff around. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah,
I'll keep going a little bit.
it's a cool
I couldn't
tool.
tell you without looking up Open Router how much of it cost, but I don't think much. I would guess a handful of dollars, less than 10. But it's still going at the moment, so I'll let it be.
It's a cool tool, definitely. And it's something that people have issues with from time to time because for 2 years now, client developers have talked about whenever a user updates their profile, should you just blast that profile to every relay that you know about, like, uh,
Yeah.
uh, and that means that every release basically would have to come with a new list of relays to use or something like that. So there's ups and downs to doing that. So right now, what they basically would blast to your NIP65 relays if your client supports that, and then your profile relays. So you're and then if people like boost events and whatnot, yeah, or you change relays, and that happens all the time too. People change relays
Mhm.
because maybe a relay goes down, and then a month later the relay comes back. Well, that relay now has your old profile data because you're not using it anymore, and then people and I see that happen all the time for people. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
a cool tool. It definitely is useful, for you and possibly others too.
Yeah, there's different ways to solve it, right? There's another client, an open source one that I was working on, and we just had this issue. And then we were thinking, well, we could just say, they've got, say, 5 relays in their set. Let's wait until we get something back from all of them to deduce which is the latest. And that's okay. But, with programming, always there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. And sometimes it's just deciding which approach you take is the hardest part, is it not actually coding it or solving
Yeah,
it. So yeah, I think always when I'm working on stuff, I'm realizing it'd be handy if there's a tool for this, even just to get some visibility to understand,
yeah,
what's the landscape, what's the nature of the problem. So I think vibe coding for me, it's great for that, just to quickly spin up some tool to help me and maybe end up solving the problem a different way, but puts me in the right direction.
very cool. So last week I kind of demoed Vibester, talking about what I was using that for and potential use someday. And Patrick was in here and he's like, "Hey, that's really cool, Derek. Can you publish can you publish the code to GitHub?" And I'm like, "It's not even done yet and it doesn't even work, but sure, I'll do it." And he used my code then to create uh, a full working version for his local Bitcoin meetup, I believe. He launched that like
Mhm.
maybe the next day or 2 days later after I shared my code, and that's
Yeah.
super cool. Like that's the perfect scenario right here. Like I had something that I was working on and playing around with. I published my code. Somebody else from the community sees it and is like, "Yo, I can vibe code this and make it work and use this." And he used my code and he turned it into something awesome for his community. Like it's how vibing from idea to a final product through open source works. It's beautiful. What's
Yeah,
up, Patrick?
absolutely.
What's up, Patrick? You here?
I think I am.
Hey, he's here now.
How's your?
Lexington Bitcoin meetup, thanks to Vibester, huh?
Yes. Let
Very
me. I'll
cool.
pull and show it off if you want
Yeah,
me
let's
to.
let's see it.
I've never actually shared screen here, so this will be interesting. All right, cool. So this project was kind of I did it to be a not just for like Lexington Bitcoin, but we're implementing it, but for any meetup to download, fork this project, get a GitHub repo that they can then just fork into, edit the env file for whatever content they want to show up, and then have it auto build inside GitHub, so a meetup could have their
Oh,
own
awesome.
meetup type page.
And then, like, so all they would need to do is basically what have a Noster npub that they're posting content to, and it just builds a website for them, basically, right?
Exactly.
That's freaking
And then
cool. Yeah.
ties in, automatically pulls the lightning address for whatever that profile is, builds everything for the donate page. Same for the blog page. It just uses the whatever the long form nip is, pull everything in. Meetups all kind of do the same thing. They pull whatever's on that EMV file in pub. But then, as you was talking about, Vibester allowed us to have a dedicated like community room where people can join into, chat, um, moderate rooms
Oh
to
man, you better approve that.
that.
She might get mad.
Oh, you're
Oh,
right.
you
I actually,
removed it.
yeah, I removed it. That was a spammer.
Spammer.
And then I realized that she can't actually go in to delete it because it removed it from her
Oh
view
yeah,
as
because
well. And
it's removed from her. So shit, that's funny.
so, yeah, Peachy's going to have to be stuck with a yeehaw on her profile. But yeah, so thank you, Derek, for passing it along. We can go through and like assign moderators to different people just like you had done. Um,
Yeah, yeah, very cool. And and then you open sourcing it, like you said, is just taking your app, and people can just plop an npub into an end file and then deploy it through GitHub Pages if they want, and boom, they're ready to go and have a website that they can easily share out.
exactly. And
Very
then
cool.
hopefully end their reliance on Meetup, the evil
Yeah,
monopoly.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Very, very cool, man. What is up, Soup Baba? What's up, LL Ron? Are you guys, you two, vibe curious?
Yeah, very vibe curious. Super new with coding and everything. But really inspired by the Nostr community, and it seems like it's something that's within reach. So I'm just trying to figure out what I don't know,
All right,
get navigated in the space, and see what I can build.
very cool. Well, the whole reason that I'm doing these is for Q&A sessions, for people to ask questions, for people to learn, to show off what they're working on, to get some ideas, and just to kind of help foster this new exciting community where we can turn anything from an idea. And you don't need to be a developer. Like, you just need to have an idea, and then you just talk to a computer and spend a little bit of money. It's super cool.
Yeah, I played around a little bit with like that Routester
Routester, yep.
one and ppq.ai.
Yeah.
But I was looking into this Shakespeare thing too, and I just kind of stumbled across your post today and had some time to tune in and
Oh,
figured
very
I'd see
cool.
what people are saying.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
the the tools that most of us have been using, we use, we build Nostr apps, obviously, because we're big Nostr bulls, we're big Nostr fans. So a lot of the applications that most of us have built have used MK stack at least as the template, and then either done command line tools or used Shakespeare. Like, a lot of people have been building things through the graphical user interface Shakespeare over the past couple weeks. I guess past month now. But I've built several apps. I know Patrick's built several apps. Heather's built a handful. Sam has built several. JD, he's in stealth mode right now. He's not letting us know what he's building, but when it launches, we will know. He says we will know.
Yeah, I haven't thought specifically about Nostr apps. I do run a music festival, and so I would thinking about some like games or like social games where maybe you could put some sort of data on NFC tags and stick them up around town
Oh, that'd be cool.
and people with their yeah, something like that. But
Well, there's
um
several Noster, I'll say, music communities, people that put on festivals, events, live streams, value for value, all sorts of fun stuff. You should check them out and have some conversations with them, and do some idea swaps, and see what they're building, and maybe you guys can collab on something.
The one app I have been kind of like my first project that I'd like to build would be like a menu bar app for macOS that would display like the block height on the Bitcoin blockchain as well as the Bitcoin price in a local currency and have a little QR button so you could scan, like if you keep your passwords on your cold card queue, have it so you could just show
Yeah.
your computer the QR code and have it go into your copy board, but delete after like a certain time limit or something.
Huh.
And that way you don't, yeah, then you don't have to like plug your cold card in and don't have to use the SD cards and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
That sounds interesting. All sorts of fun use cases.
So in that case, like where would you recommend I like focus learning? Because I know, as far as I know, like you need to learn what is it, Xcode or something, just to be able to develop for Mac OS.
Well,
Like,
I will say I have no clue because I am not a Apple guy. I don't, and because I'm not an Apple guy, I have zero idea what tools are available for vibe coding besides having to get started with Xcode. I
yeah,
know there is a, I mean, there's I know several developers that develop for Apple, and I know that some of them are tinkering around with using Goose,
okay,
but
yeah, like
yeah,
I'm just learning how to use the terminal and all that kind of stuff too. So it's I don't know, there's so much to learn, but I'm super excited about it. So I'm willing to take the time. I just don't know how to
maybe Sam has
navigate
any
where to
insight.
start and all that.
But yeah, do you know any iOS tools, Sam?
The short answer is no. I did iOS, OS X quite a few years ago now, so I would hope that things have moved along since then with regard to vibe coding and whatnot. But I think just rolling your sleeves up, jumping in, that's the best thing. Uh, just start learning like you already are. I think, yeah, you figure out as you go. And think that's something I really like LLMs about is that you can get some sample code base. So, probably if you Google around, once you get Xcode and whatever installed on your machine, you can find a sample app for like making a taskbar extension or whatever. But then with an
Okay.
LLM in Cursor, say, or whatever IDE or Goose at the terminal, um, you can ask questions. So that's what I do when I join a new code base now. I will literally ask it, hey, what's this app all about? What's the structure? How does it work? And then it will tell me something. But that's just starting a feedback loop rather than say, okay, so it's doing like this and then that. But then why does it do it that way? And then, you have this kind of getting to know the code base and that's great. So I'm sure if you've got the energy and the drive, it's a great time to learn coding. It's a lot easier than it was for me back in the day.
Yeah, it's the first time it feels like it might be within reach. And I'm at a time in my life where I'm kind of wanting to change careers and things. So if I can
Mhm.
play around with this and get somewhere, I think it would be worthwhile.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I
I
appreciate the
mean, I
advice.
think yeah, your app idea sounds nice. So I hope you get somewhere with it.
The goal would be by the end of the year. I'm working 6 days a week right now at a fiat job and I'm kind of stuck with that for a
Wow.
bit. But the one advantage is I have a lot of time to listen to podcasts. So I'm
There you
doing my
go.
40
Oh
hours a
yeah,
week of Bitcoin podcasts, but it's hard to learn coding
great.
through audio, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not,
you need to do hands-on. You need to just
yeah,
start digging in with your favorite agent and LLM and just start get your hands dirty.
yeah. So yeah, I played around with a few prompts and at least it seems to recommend like Python-based apps most often. And
Mhm.
I'm so new, I'm just like, okay, starting to ask questions like, what is this? What is that? And
Yeah.
So
just trying to even understand what I'm looking at. So
so
it'll be a while, but
what I did when I first started vibe coding, they're all web apps. So I'll say that it's going to obviously your mileage is going to vary and it's going to be different doing iOS apps. But what I would do before I used MK Stack because it didn't exist at the time, I literally had several web pages opened I had different libraries that I knew, like software kits that I knew I was going to use, and I had technical documentation like different NIPs, like protocol documents open. And what I would do is when I would say I wanted to build a specific feature, I would go and I would look at the technical library and go and read the technical documentation, and I would literally copy and paste different pieces into the LLM to guide, what I wanted to do. And then when it came back and it didn't work and I needed to figure out, a different approach or how I wanted to do it, I had to understand these things, right? I had to understand, is this in the capability of this library that I want to use? What the hell can this library do? So it's a lot of technical documentation, but it really helped me get an understanding of some of the limitations, and I think it helped me prompt AI better. Now things have gotten so much better in the past, 4 months, and we have these tools, these templates available, at least for web apps and for Android apps. But for iOS, there might be something out there. I don't know. But anyways, long story short, my recommendation is read the docs, read all the technical stuff to just it. You don't have to understand what it does, but to be able to understand maybe what some of the limitations are that you're asking for.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. What is up, Dan? Dan, have you started vibe coding anything since last week?
I've been playing around.
Nice, nice. You
Yeah.
working on Danster?
Wait, say that again?
Are you working on Danster? You're working on Bread and Toaster, right?
Yeah, I'm not even working on either of those right now. I want to kind of play around with it, learn what I'm doing first before I
Yeah,
start taking on like something I'm really serious about.
yeah. That's what
Um,
you got to do. You just got to start playing around. You got to get your hands wet, hands dirty.
yep. I keep running into the same problem with Shakespeare though, where like every time I leave it and come back, I have to clear my cache in order to log in and have it load up. Not sure if anybody else is running into that issue or if like it's something I'm
I've
doing on my
seen
side.
I've seen you have that issue and one other person. What browser are you using?
I'm using
You're
Firefox.
using Firefox, and what extension
Um,
for
Nos2x.
NOS2X? Okay, yeah. So, uh, since we got a dev in here, Sam, what his issue is yeah, just randomly the Shakespeare app will be at a complete white screen for him, and then he just has to nuke local storage, cookies, cache,
Yeah.
and then he can log back in.
Yeah, that sounds super frustrating. Hopefully, we can get a fix for you on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so let's see here.
I've seen him and one other person mention it on Nostr before, and I don't know if the other
Yeah,
person's using Firefox. Like it'd be interesting if it's a Firefox bug.
so I'm not sure
Mhm.
if you can see my screen here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we
uh,
can see it.
it's like every time I load up, it's like white like this. So I have to go to my settings, clear my cache, and
Yeah.
then I'll just do that real quick. No big deal. And then once I do it, it loads up.
And then you can log back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to ask you to do? The next time it does that, I want you to open up the developer tools
Okay.
and then go to the console and see if there's any like messages there, any errors, anything, and take a screenshot of that.
Um. Okay. The web developer tools.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next time you go there, open up the console or open up the web developer tools, and then there'll be like different tabs. Make sure you're on the console tab, and it might give you some more
Okay.
information here. It might give you a red error message or warning or something like that, and then we can
Gotcha.
take that and try to figure out what's happening.
Okay.
It's this help us help you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I put $100 into Shakespeare a couple days ago, so I could start playing around with it.
Nice.
think I think most of the stuff's still a little bit over my head, but definitely learning. It's
Okay.
definitely
Well,
making it a lot easier to learn code.
yeah. Well, if you have any questions, just feel free to send me a DM or post on Noster with hashtags, and somebody will find you and hopefully be able to answer it. I said if not, just DM me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Hey, I appreciate all the help.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're welcome, Dan.
Um,
Absolutely. We're gonna try to
thanks
have
for
some. Oh, go ahead.
thanks for persevering with the app though. I mean, this real patience. You don't get an error on screen, just a white screen, and you're still hacking away, looking through the tools, how to reset the cache and whatnot. That's a good patience.
As far as like programming a web app goes, this is like the best AI I've played with. So I can look past having to clear my cache every time I log in. Like it's like it's that great.
Cool.
I'm wondering. Well, we have a new version coming out in a couple weeks here, so um, there's gonna be a lot of like underlying architecture changes. But I'm curious as to what your issue is. Maybe it's something generally easy that we could fix in the meantime. So if you get an error, please let us know. And in the console, if you see an error, that'll help us diagnose it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I will start paying attention to the console here.
And you know what? That's something that helps out even when you're working on your own vibe coded app.
Okay.
Sometimes during the debugging process, something doesn't show up right, or maybe even you have a white screen. Something
Right.
isn't working right. And I mean, I do it on every single app that I'm using. I go into the web developer tools, open up the developer console, and look for error messages or debugging messages. Sometimes, if you're going back and forth trying to get a feature to work, AI, Shakespeare, might add some debugging for you and ask you to go in and look at the debug log or the developer console or console log, something like that. And you have to go in there and look at it, and you'll copy and paste stuff back into Shakespeare and say, hey, this is what the console says, and it'll look at it and be like, oh, I see it.
Okay.
And
That's
then
really helpful.
generally it'll try to fix it. So yeah, it's all part of the process. Vibe debugging is they say. Vibe coding is fun. Vibe debugging is not.
I'm definitely
Can confirm.
yeah, I'm definitely struggling with the debugging part. So I think this is all very helpful.
Yeah, everyone wants to talk about vibe coding. Nobody wants to talk about vibe debugging.
Well, and it's tough because most of us that are doing the vibe coding are not developers. So when things don't work, it's like,
Right.
well, what do I do now? And if you've
Yeah.
never been if you've never been a developer, not familiar with these tools, you're kind of at a loss. And it's just AI is only so good. It's great, and you can build fully working complex apps, but it's sometimes going to take a little bit of extra digging in the trenches. It's just a large part of programming, Troy says. Absolutely.
Yep.
Back when is her name Ada? Ada Smith or Ada Lovelace, right? Ada Lovelace, she wanted to clean out bugs that were in the mainframe. And Ada went into the mainframe to clean out the bugs because there was literal like moths in there. She was debugging, and then ever since then it became a thing.
Is that where the term comes from?
Absolutely.
Okay. Got
Oh
my
wait,
hands
I'm talking about
messy.
Grace Hopper. I get them too confused. Which rear admiral Grace Hopper? She is the one that went into the mainframe and cleaned the bugs out. Okay. Found a moth. Yeah. I didn't think it existed prior. Maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll have to we'll have to Google it and check out Wikipedia. But either way, yeah, Grace Hopper did go into the mainframe and clean out a moth, essentially debugging it. Maybe the term existed prior.
Either way, it goes with the
Either way
mythology.
it's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah.
that
It's it.
that back in the day you used to walk inside a computer to clean it
Mm,
because they were as big as rooms.
It's like legend has it, the
Legend
moths
has it.
taking over. Yeah.
Yep. And now we can say, hey, build me an app that talks about moths. and it could do it. Well, does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to talk about or showcase or Q&A? Any issues? If not, we'll wrap early this evening.
I don't have anything. I know I stepped in late here, so just trying to catch what I could. And I
Okay.
think I got a good chunk of value here the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I said most people. We had a lot of like Heather gave a demo earlier. Sam gave a demo. Patrick gave a demo. We had some
Jeez,
questions.
I'm definitely not there yet.
So Soup, I'm trying to do these every Monday evening at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
If I can't make one for whatever reason, I'll reschedule it to Wednesday evening. But try to do these on a weekly basis, just to get people talking about vibe coding and all the cool things. Because I truly believe that the more ideas we have, and the more ideas we're able to turn into actual working applications, the better chances we have that Noster sticks and something
Right.
something somebody out there has an idea that was never going to turn into a real app because they didn't have the technical knowledge or the money to be able to pay somebody to build it, and they always just had a cool idea, and now they're able to turn it into a real app. So we're going to get some amazing app in the future, I know it. Like right now, like one of the top apps on the App Store is a vibe coded app, Jack Dorsey's Bitch at. Like it's crazy.
Well,
What did you call it? Bitch at?
Bitch
Yeah,
chat.
I call it bitch at, but I mean it's not technically supposed to be that. But who knows? Maybe it is supposed to be bitch at, and that's the.
That's definitely not how I was pronouncing it, but I think I'm gonna have to now.
It's
Oh, it's
literally
totally got to be bitch
like the
chat.
first day he launched it. I looked at it and I said, "Oh, cool, bitch chat," and I'm like, "Wait a second." Or is
Like,
it
yo,
bitch
man,
at? Because that
just
works
DM me on
too.
that bitch.
It works too, man. Like they both work.
You
It's
named it after what I do to Derek, which is bitch at Derek.
yep.
I'd be like, I'm just gonna bitch at all my friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. Just gonna. I guess they had a pretty large turnout of bitch at in Riga this past week.
That's cool. Yeah, nobody in my vicinity has had bitch at
Oh god, yeah.
yet.
There's nobody in Central Pennsylvania using that. Like
I haven't
we're
played
it,
with it at all,
Dan, we're gonna have to wait till the Noster Valley meetup, and then we'll get a dozen or two of us like on bitch chat like.
and we'll just sit there together.
Yeah, we'll just sit there
Yeah.
together all on our phones, just so we can actually use the app.
I think that's kind of like what people are starting to use it for too. Like if you look at Calais, I think posted something about Riga, or maybe there was another one too. Like you can use it in the room to ask questions about what the person's presenting.
Yeah, they were just just to be
Oh.
fun. They were using it on the Cypherpunk stage in Riga. They have a stage upstairs where like no cameras, no blah blah blah. Like, and on that stage, I guess they normally take Q&A at the end, but to kind of speed it up, I guess they during the session, and to be in true Cypherpunk mantra, they use an anonymous app to submit questions, and then they field the questions, and then they used them at the end. So that's pretty cool.
I
So
think that's better.
we'll get everybody together at the beginning of Noster Valley and get it all set up,
Yeah,
and
that's what
then
we'll do.
when
We'll set.
Derek Ross takes the stage, we can all be like, "Yo, CEOs, just at it again."
Well, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, if you want to ask questions, we only take questions in the form of bitch chat. Like, we'll make
It's better. You
everybody
don't have
use
to.
it.
Yeah, you don't have to go into an audience with a microphone, and it's like time consuming and awkward. But everybody just wants to like run off to the bathroom or get food. Like speed up the process. Choose the best questions, maybe.
Yep.
Are you going to be doing any vibe coding seminars at the event in October?
Um, I'm gonna see. I mean, I thought about it. Maybe not. I thought talking about why I think vibe coding and Nostr work well. Building out, like kind of like what I was saying earlier, building out ideas, the number of ideas that go up, the number of freedoms that go up, because everybody can turn their ideas into something.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we could do something cool. Seth and I are still, talking. There's only been a couple applications so far for people that have wanted to talk. So we have 4 hours to fill. I'm sure I'll talk about something. And if the people want some vibe coding stuff, I will do a vibe coding talk or a demo or something. I don't know.
You still have a lot of time to
We have a
fill.
lot of time. Yeah.
Okay, I've been trying to come up with an idea, so I'll get back to
Yeah,
you
we,
in the
we've had
next
2
week.
months. So yeah, we have time.
Great.
Cool.
Heather's coming. She's speaking about something, I think.
Wait,
I'll
Heather,
come up with.
you coming all the way out to PA?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't bought the flight yet, but Derek just volunteered me. So
Okay, well, you better be there.
gotta see the
Yeah,
Pennsylvania pubs.
Patrick's driving up and JD's driving
Cool.
up as well. It's gonna be a good
Very
time.
cool. I have a question though for everybody. Um, Everybody who's building apps or who wants to build apps, how many people are doing it just for funsies? Like the app I built today was just for fun, well, for my job. But how many people are building apps with the intent of, making money with an app later on?
That's a good question.
Definitely
Mhm.
not at that level yet. Right now,
Yeah,
it's
me
just
neither.
right now it's just fun. Like I was trying to mess around. A lot of the guys we do like poker night on Friday now, and you can find us like in Corny Chat, and then we're playing poker. But we kind of want like to build like some kind of poker client, that
Ooh.
operates,
Yeah.
and so we can talk like this. It shows our icons while showing like where we're seated at the table.
Oh, cool.
So I was just playing with that the other
Well, that's a
day.
good idea. No, I like that.
That's
I mean,
fun.
yeah, no, that's a good idea. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for sharing. I appreciate all the shares and conversations. Let's do it again in a week.
Hey, Derek, before you
Yeah.
run, if
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
ask a question of you,
Oh yeah, yeah.
how long,
What's up, brother?
how long before Wavelake approved your app ID did it start working?
Oh, it started working immediately.
Okay, so I'm just doing something wrong then.
Wait, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to backtrack.
what do you mean by that?
So Wavelake, if you Wavelake does stuff a little bit differently to handle splits for or for artist splits and then for their own personal splits. So you essentially they do lightning address lookups a little bit differently. So to do a lightning address lookup, you have to off of their server, you have to have an API ID, an app ID to be able to query and look for artist addresses and to do the splits and everything.
And is that
Oh.
because they have their own account system?
Essentially, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they just they just do it differently because they want to take a percentage of the zap themselves for them and then
Right, they're hosting,
whatever.
they're
Yeah.
putting in. Yep.
So to do that, whenever you do a lightning address request, you can't get the lightning address that you should zap until you have an app ID, basically, until you're approved to do that through their system. But then doing so, anybody that builds a Wavelake app gets 5% of the zap, maybe? I don't remember. When I asked them for an app ID, I didn't know that. They're like, here you go, and now you're going to get 5% of the zaps. I was like, oh, I didn't want 5% of the zaps. I just wanted the fucking app ID, but okay, I'll take 5% for building. So there you go, Heather. Zap Tracks is my app that I've actually monetized.
There you go.
Have you made any money?
Yeah.
Yeah, like no one's using it but me. So
Oh,
so anytime I
I
zap
feel so bad
anybody,
now.
I'm just fucking paying myself. Like I love it. Like I zap people
That's
on that
awesome.
app every day.
Oh.
Like, and I'm just literally just every 100 sats, I'm sending 5 back to myself. Like I love it. Sorry, Patrick, but yeah, they
Oh my God,
approved it
that's
and it
good.
started working right away.
Perfect. I'm gonna actually test it with your ID and see if I can get this working because the one that they sent me doesn't
There you
seem to work.
Let's see, was there something with that? Let me look at my Telegram messages real quick.
I'm trying to. That's the other thing I did on Peachy's site is like build a Wavelake client into it.
Yeah, I
Something.
saw that.
Oh, that's so
'Cause
cool.
I saw like it was like listen to my top 20 or 10 or here's my or something. I thought that I was like, oh, per user, that's neat. I didn't think about that. All right, let's see here.
I love that idea. Anything that helps get the music out there to people is so cool. That's why I love what you guys did with the peachyhodl.com. That's so cool.
um, I would I don't know if it's case sensitive or not, but the app ID that he gave me was case. I mean, it's just DR25,
Yeah.
really.
So I saw yours inside your code or whatever, and
Yeah, I
was hoping that it was like something that
mean, it's
so I
nothing
don't
but
know. Maybe.
yeah.
See,
I don't know if it's case sensitive or not. If they gave you one that was
if
different.
Big Carrot were here, she would tell you that it would matter. But the case, she would say that's just a basic thing.
Well,
And
it
I'd be like,
depends on the system.
oh,
Sometimes case matters and sometimes case doesn't.
right. And she would argue with you.
But did you hear what I was saying earlier, Patrick, when you first joined about looking at Peachy's Discord?
I saw the first little bit of it. Then we had a breakdown. I built an RTMP server for her, so she didn't have to use Zapstream, and then her computer went down. But then she couldn't connect because it never properly disconnected.
Yeah.
So we had a giant meltdown here at the house.
Oh, interesting.
Oh no.
But we're back now.
Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Well,
But thank you for the heads up on the Wavelake stuff.
yeah. I said, did you like fill out an application, or you just like talk to Sam, or
I just sent him an email, and
okay,
I forget who it was that sent it back to me. They
Josh, or
sent me one. I think it was Josh actually.
yeah, yeah. He was helpful. Like when I was talking with him. So yeah, I'm sure if it doesn't work, just yeah, he'll help you out. But yeah, put in mine works. So yeah, put mine in, I
Yes.
guess, to test to see
So
if
it's just
it's
a API key because I
patient or
just
something.
changed it out, and yours works perfect. So
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, good to know. Glad to be of service. Okay. Well, everybody, you have a good night. I'm gonna stop the recording.